I will begin this video by saying that I have no intention of talking about all the celebrity deaths that happened this year. There were quite a few, though there seems to be no evidence in anywhere that I've read that it's any worse than any other year. Nor will I be talking about the elections, which were pretty terrible. I would have been unhappy with either result, and I am unhappy with the result that we got. Nope, that is not what I'm going to be talking about during the course of this video. Though I suppose by saying that I'm not going to be talking about those issues, I did in fact talk about them. What I will be discussing is the year I personally had. Did I have a good year, a bad year? Did I live up to what I was trying to accomplish during the course of it? This is actually a yearly tradition. I do this usually every year in writing. This year, because I have a cool new editing program, I can't resist using it, so I decided to make a video instead. To truly understand the 2016 story, we really have to go back in time. Specifically, we have to go back to 2014. My mom and sister, they departed for Seattle. I was really bummed about that at the time. My relationship with my wife effectively ended, though the divorce wasn't finalized until the next year. A longtime friend of mine basically told me to screw off and die. I mean, that's not his exact phrasing. In fact, he said nothing like it. But, I mean, that's effectively what happened. Basically, I spent 2014 getting my teeth kicked in. I deserved all of it, really, when it came down to it. By the end of the year, I was living in my uncle's basement. And then things started to turn around a little bit. I realized this, despite not caring for much of the semester, it was still possible for me to finish and pass my Spanish class, which would mean I would graduate. To make a long story short, I pulled it off. I graduated, and then that brings us to 2015, next year. 2015 started off much better. The first half of the year was kind of fun. I came into the year with a bunch of goals and things I was trying to accomplish. Predictably, as New Year's resolutions go, I accomplished none of it. I spent a good portion of the year basically helping somebody else, taking care of their problems and not doing enough for my own. But it was through that I actually learned some stuff about myself. She, the person that I was helping, basically taught me about myself during this time, so it wasn't a complete waste. It's natural when things go as wrong as they did to ask why. It seems like I am on a pattern where I wipe out my life every 4 or 5 years. And the natural question, as I just said, is why? Why does this continuously happen? Why do all my relationships, or 90% of them, or a lot of them, seem to suck? What is it about me that makes these things the case? And through helping her, I learned exactly why. That was basically what my 2015 journey was about, is learning that about myself. And I ended up writing a book about it, which, if you want more details about what happened during the course of the year, you should read it. If I ever get around to publishing it, which I intend to do, you can buy it that way. Or heck, maybe I'll just send it to you. What about myself is that I am codependent. Now, plenty of you don't know what the heck that means. And I'll read you the definition. It's basically excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, typically a person or a partner who requires support due to illness or addiction. Usually this refers to, alcoholics or drug addicts, which I am neither. But I am an addict, a technology addict, like a social media addict, an addict of, basically my addictions manifest in many different ways. But what it comes down to is I'm an addict, and I exhibit an addict's pattern in life. I am essentially the enabled and the enabler. Anyway, moving along, since I don't want this to be a 20-hour video. The first half of 2015 was informative, fun. The second half was a total nightmare. The situation was bad. And it was mainly bad because I spent so much time not dealing with myself, but with the other person's problems. Things in my life started deteriorating. And, things got to a point of no return where I had to focus on myself or I was going to drown. This led to my brief Cumberland Farm stint, which ended after a couple months. And then that led to me getting the book writing opportunity. I had given my book that I had written earlier in the year to my friend Stacy to edit because I intended to publish it. She was actually approached by a guy named Fabio Gazelle. He wanted her to write his book. She didn't feel like she was capable of taking it on, so she recommended me, which is how I landed that particular job. Which leads us finally into 2016, which is actually the original point of this video. Fabio Gazelle was born in Jordan. He's a Muslim. He immigrated to the United States. His goal was to become an Arabic singer. And he took a job at Cumberland Farms, ironically enough, until he could, achieve his dreams. He was very close to actually getting a gig. Unfortunately, one night, he was robbed, and during the course of this robbery, he was beaten to a pulp, very nearly killed. As a result of this robbery, he suffered from PTSD, and along with that came a severe depression and anxiety, which is something I know quite a bit about. He spent a decade fighting the insurance company to get the benefits, workman's comp, for this incident, and battling out the insurance company because they were saying he could work, even though he really couldn't. He finally settled that and then left back to Jordan in disgust. He never intended to come back. But then his father, who had recently acquired a business, a gas station, himself, was murdered on the job one night, and that drew him back to find out what exactly happened to his dad. And that's essentially what the book was about. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull writing this book off. I didn't know if it was good enough. I didn't know if my talent was such that I was going to be able to tell this particular story. As it turns out, I was. And this helped prove that I always knew that I should be more than Dunkin' Donuts Dave. But this for sure proved my value to myself. And as the year went along, it just became increasingly painfully obvious that Dunkin' Donuts, being on the night shift, that job bores me to tears. Like, I was ready for greater challenges. I was ready a long time ago, but I didn't have the confidence to go and pursue them. And that's one of the greatest things about getting this opportunity to write. It gave me a direction to go in life. And going into 2017, I'm hoping to be able to make hay from that discovery. At various points throughout the year, I hyped it as the year of Dave, the year I finally recover. Did it end up that? Not quite. But more realistically, what the year was several smaller steps in the right direction. Mid-year, I became a part of a Facebook group, secret Facebook, whose name I can't mention, but is filled with nefarious characters. In all seriousness, the group became a place where we could vent and express things that we wouldn't be able to normally, as well as to lean on each other, and that's pretty cool. I also had a reunion with an old friend of mine, Marcus Cook. I used to refer to him as my ambassador of confidence back in the day. I had actually missed him several times when he was up here in Connecticut, so this year and this time I was able to get that done. Towards the end of the year, a coworker of mine got promoted to the East Granby Dunkin' Donuts to be the store manager. I started to actually work for her there. I split time between the two stores and was actually considering transferring over there to be her closer. I spent a couple months waffling on that before finally deciding to pull the trigger when she basically forced my hand. The GM over there basically didn't want us splitting time between two stores anymore. So she said it was either here or there, and I chose to go there. Pretty much putting an end to 8.5 years of me being at the Marlboro Dunkin' Donuts, which is more of a lateral move, but it was still a move. It was going to be for more hours and more pay. So literally it was a no-brainer, and it put me in position to kick butt in 2017 and maybe finally get myself back on my feet. So all in all, and I have to wrap this thing up because this video is already way too long. 2016 was an improvement over the last couple years. There's definitely been an upwards trend. There was a lot of good things that happened, some bad things like further damage to my car, but bad things will happen in any year. But it was all in all a positive experience. As far as 2017 goes, basically I want to keep going. I want to save up money to pay down problems, to fix my car, get into my own place, or set myself up to be in a position to do that next year, to finally be recovered from when my life blew up. In addition to that, I'd like to set up a ghostwriting business. I'm not entirely sure how to go about that yet, and that's one of the things I need to figure out going forward. I'd also like to develop some kind of social life, which this year was pretty lacking. There's no reason why I can't. I mean, so towards the end, next year, I'm going to be like taking one person every 2 weeks and trying to hang out with them and see if I could develop some kind of actual life beyond work and my daughter and all that. So that's it, guys. 2016 was a positive experience. I'm hoping for great things in 2017. I wish you guys all a happy new year. This is Dave Corman signing off. Try it again, one more time.